It is not yet dawn in Rome. Somewhere in this house, a boy is already awake, because someone else decided he should be. His name, as far as we know it, was Marcus. He owned nothing. Not his time, not his body, not even his own name, really. It was given to him. This is not a story about an empire. This is a story about one day, his day. 5 in the morning, in a house near the Roman Forum, sometime in the second half of the 1st century. Marcus sleeps here, on the floor outside his master's bedroom, across the threshold, so he can be woken with a single word. There is no room of his own. In Roman houses, a slave rarely had a space that belonged to him, not even a corner. A voice calls from inside. He rises without a sound. Hesitation is a luxury he cannot afford. Breakfast, if it exists at all, is simple. Bread, perhaps diluted wine, eaten standing. Roman law gave him almost no rights, but even a household run by a decent master was expected to make sure its slaves were not left cold or hungry. Then the work begins, sweeping the atrium, carrying water from the fountain, tending the fire, walking the family's children to their lessons. In a house like this, a slave might be a cook, a hairdresser, a tutor, a secretary, sometimes all in the same day. A wealthy household could hold hundreds of enslaved people. One Roman prefect is recorded as having 400 under his roof, and masters rarely gathered slaves from a single origin. Mixing languages and homelands made it harder for anyone to plot, to trust, to rebel. Marcus is what the Romans called a verna, born into slavery, inside this very house. He never knew another life, and in a strange, cruel logic, that made things slightly easier for him than for most. Not everyone in this house was born this way. Most of Rome's enslaved population came into it through birth, but a staggering number came through something far more violent: war. When Rome conquered a people, it did not just take their land, it took their bodies. After the fall of Carthage alone, tens of thousands were funneled into the slave trade. After Greece fell, historians estimate roughly 150,000 more. From there, many were taken to island markets like Delos, a free port so central to the trade that the geographer Strabo claimed it could process 10,000 people in a single day. Historians today believe that number was exaggerated, but even as legend, it tells us something about the scale Rome normalized. Buyers inspected bodies like livestock. A small wooden tag hung around each neck. Origin, health, temperament, written in a few blunt words. This is how a person became a price. Others never saw a market at all. Roman law had a simple, brutal principle. A child followed the legal status of its mother. If she was enslaved, so was the child, the moment it was born. This is how Marcus's story began, not with chains, but with a birth in the wrong household. Slaves could not legally marry. Roman law denied them that right, along with almost every other right a person could hold. But that did not stop people from loving one another. The Romans called it contubernium, a kind of marriage that had no legal power, only the master's permission, and could be dissolved by a single decision that was never the couple's own. And the greatest fear was never punishment, it was separation. A child could be sold away without warning, to another house, another city, another life the parents would never see. In Marcus's household, that fear was constant, but so, quietly, was something else: knowledge. His master, Epictetus, had once been enslaved himself, before rising to serve as secretary to an emperor. And strangely, that history did not always translate into mercy. Ancient sources describe a master who once lost his temper and twisted the boy's leg until it broke. Marcus is said to have simply told him, "You will break it." When it did, he added, "Did I not tell you?" And yet, in the middle of all this, something unusual was allowed to happen. Marcus was permitted to sit, quietly, at the edge of the room, while a philosopher taught. The teacher's name was Musonius Rufus. one of the most respected Stoic voices in Rome. His lesson that day and every day was the same. You cannot always choose what happens to you, but you can choose what you become because of it. There was one more thing Marcus was allowed to keep, a small leather pouch hidden beneath a loose floor tile. Inside it, a handful of coins, his peculium. Technically, this money still belonged to his master, but in practice, a slave's peculium was often the only path to something resembling a future. Years of small savings, quietly accumulated, waiting for the moment it might be enough. Freedom, when it came, could arrive in different ways. A master might free a slave in his will. He might walk him before a magistrate and formally renounce ownership, or he might simply enroll him in the census as a free man. But even freedom came with strings attached. A freedman remained bound to his former master, now his patron, for the rest of his life, in debts of loyalty the law never fully released him from. History does not record the exact date Marcus, or rather Epictetus, as he would come to be known, received his freedom. Only that around the year 68, when Nero's reign collapsed and his master fell from power, the boy who once slept across a threshold walked out of that house a free man. He would go on to open his own school, to teach senators and eventually a future emperor. Centuries later, his words are still read, about the one thing he said that can never truly be taken from a person, the freedom of the mind. Somewhere in Rome, at 5 in the morning, another boy like Marcus is waking up right now because someone else decided he should. This is not only a story about the past, it is a question we are still quietly answering.